Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Endless Celts Podcast, live on a Tuesday. Like the old days, we were live on Tuesday and Thursday, but this is a one-off due to availability and things like that, people being ill and coming up to Christmas. But delighted to have James and Jed. How are you both?
Aye, all good, all good.
Feeling champion?
Champion, top of the world, mate. I mean, we've had fallouts, we've had meltdowns, we've had ex-referees going on Rangers podcasts that saying it should have been a penalty. We've had Bobby Madden showing his true colours. It's been an absolute epic meltdown of epic proportions since Celtic lifted the Premier Sports League Cup, or whatever they like to call it, on Sunday. And we're going to get stuck into it all. Delighted to have people in the comments: Smell the Grub, Thomas Burns, San Fran, Chris D, Chris Toff. So good to have you at all. We'll bring up the comments and we'll probably get into a nice discussion tonight about being the Premier Sports Cup League champions, the sponsors and all that crap. But Jed, I mean, you were at the game. James is at the game. I'll start with yourself. I know there's been multiple podcasts on talking about the match and how they felt and the goals and stuff, but we'll go over it in some detail. And just first of all, I mean, me and James were speaking kind of before we went on, and James was saying he wasn't kind of confident waking up that day and he wasn't feeling it. What about yourself going into the game? There was a lot of talk about maybe 4 or 5 weeks before Celtic going to hammer them. We're going to show them, obviously, 5-6 people were talking about could be a massacre, but turned out to be anything but. And I think Rangers, to be fair, found a bit of form over the last maybe 3 or 4 weeks. New style of playing, new players in that system, like Cherny coming on the game, Ignaman, it was like Didier Drogba. He's been compared to. They're mad. But anyway, how are you feeling at the end of the game?
I was still relatively fine. I mean, as I've said in the WhatsApp group, I always think it's simple. If we play a potential, we win. Doesn't matter how well they play. But yes, they did play decent. But let's just cut to the chase, guys. They played great. They still can't beat us.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. To be fair, we
that's it. Podcast over.
That's it done. That's it done. I mean, to be fair, like James, you look at the game, and I think I put it the day after in the group chat that we were shit. To be fair, I don't think Celtic played anywhere near the full potential, and that kind of sucker punch of Lemons playing to their maximum potential, the kind of press that we're doing. I mean, all the effort that we're putting into the game, and still coming away with the defeat. And obviously, we'll get into the excuses and the penalty talk later, but you're talking about a psychological edge. I mean, Celtic have it. That's Clementine 6 Glasgow Derby game that he's lost in a row. I think it's the worst record of any Sevco/Rangers manager in history. So his record in these games are terrible. His players' records, like Tavernier, like Butland, are equally as bad. So you're looking at that from a Sevco point of view, and you're going, how do we beat this curse? How do we beat them? And like what Jed alluded to, we were shit, but we still got the job done.
I think it's a bit harsh though to disregard. I think that was actually their second moral victory, so probably a wee bit harsh to disregard that. But no, like you say, like Jed said as well, for them to beat us, we need to have an off day, and we did have an off day. I think we had a wee 15. Well, we did have a wee 15 minutes. Obviously, we scored the 2 goals and went in front. And at that point, I'm thinking if we keep playing the way we had been playing for that wee kind of spell, we'd maybe go and kind of canter it. But obviously, it wasn't to be. But that was us at our worst, and that was him absolutely busting a gut. And to be fair, it didn't really took us all the way, but all the way isn't enough. And obviously, we're the ones lifting the cup. So that's the only thing that matters. Nobody remembers the performances in cup finals. You get your hands on the trophy, you get the medal in your neck, and that's the be all and end all. And we've managed to do it again, and hopefully we obviously learn from it. We go to Ibrox in a couple of weeks. I think we'll have learned lessons for it and know probably what to expect for them, and just hopefully we can remedy that. Obviously, it's no a must-win game. You'd like to go there and win, but it's not the end of the world. But hopefully we go there, we put a performance in, and we get a result.
Yeah, I mean, it is a sucker punch that tried their best and still came up trumps, and Celtic have won the League Cup. And go ahead, Jeff.
Stephen, if you look at they had more shots than us. We had 66% possession. I know that means nothing, Well, look, I'm at an age, a lot of the guys that's watching as well, when Tommy Burns was our manager, we played Rangers off the park, and we couldn't beat them. But that was it. We just had to get on with it. So it's their turn. So they'll just need to get on with it. So I have seen us in really low times. So I'm making the most of these good times.
Yeah, and rightly so. I think we as a fan base as a whole, we should be celebrating that. I think that's our 119th competitive trophy, and as Roger says, we don't like to brag about it, but it's there in the history books now, and there'll be signs and there'll be posters took down across the city, which we can all laugh at that as well. But I mean, looking at it from my...
Sorry, I did hear our very own Mr. Muirs has he's been asked to put a couple of quotes in to do a bit of painting. So he could be making a wee bit of money out of it.
And they're like, for me, watching... Can you hear me? Yeah?
I just cut out a wee bit there.
Yeah. So I was rewatching the highlights before I come on to refresh from memory, because I was saying it was like a blur. And there was a couple of chances. Nicholas Kuhn very early on, maybe the 14th or 15th minute, bomb past Shefty and Proper, I think that's his name. But unfortunately didn't finish it off. And not long after that, Kyogo came in with a shot near post. So we did have chances. It wasn't as like it was backs against the wall and we were absolutely terrible. But I think it was more, James, the flow of play, and as Rogers talks about the speed, it probably was one of our worst performances of the season, and we're saying that with a smile because we've won the trophy. But let's get into it. And I mean, you could talk about the first, 20 minutes and say it was even because it was back and forth and trying to feel each other out. And look, unfortunately, the first player we have to focus on is Greg Taylor. And look, we don't have to turn it into a Greg Taylor bashing session, but I firmly believe that players need called out for performances. And unfortunately, the last couple of weeks, in my opinion, Greg Taylor's been really subpar. I don't know if his head is thinking about leaving or he's a bit up in the air about his new contract. And there's probably not a lot of factors that are weighing into his performances, both mentally and physically. But that goal we conceded was unforgivable. It was a square ball across the back four in a very compact area. Rangers took it. I think it was Ignaby had it. He shot the edge of the box. Kasper Schmeichel parried it out, and Marami comes in and finishes it off. But James, what's your opinion so far at the moment on Greg Taylor?
I think getting into the game, there was only really two positions up for grabs, and it was going to be either Taylor or Valle or Engels or probably Hatate. I wouldn't even say Bernardo anymore. I'd say Hatate. Look, Greg Taylor, you see, you're not going to turn it into a Greg Taylor bashing session, and I'm no wanty, but it's no the first time in a big game that he's had a mistake in him. Look, he then scores a goal, so you can argue that he rectifies it. But there was also another one, the 4-on-1 chance. It's Greg Taylor that I think he actually slips, didn't he, and gives the ball away. But even watching it back, as you say, honestly, the game was an absolute blur. We get back to the motor after the game, and I genuinely couldn't remember Kuhn's goal. I couldn't remember what it was like until I seen it on my phone. It was just went by in a flash. But no, when I watched it back, when Greg Taylor picks the ball up, the space for him to go is out wide. But for some reason, he essentially just tries to run pretty much along the halfway line into traffic. And then when he tries to play the pass, I think there's 3 Rangers players between the ball and, is it Johnson he's trying to pass to, or Carter Vickers, whoever it is. It was entirely preventable. I think it's just maybe a wee kind of brain fart. And obviously they then go on and score for it. But as I say, he scores a goal to rectify it, I suppose, in a sense, in terms of the scoreline anyway. But for me, I'd be moving on to Valle for the next few games. I think he looked good, probably barring the Falkirk game, which I think was his debut, and it was a bit of a makeshift back four at that point as well. I'd like to see Valle get a wee run in the team again now. But I'm saying that I still would like Greg Taylor to sign a new deal, but to be a backup, if we could get another player in for a first choice and have Greg Taylor as the kind of Ralston of the left-hand side, so to speak.
Yeah, but see as well, Stephen, you're right in that saying Taylor. But listen, your captain didn't have a great game. I thought Atati was poor in the first half. But he did come on to a wee bit of game. I thought Bernardo tried. He did try and put himself about. But like you say, James, when you're at the game, there's just so much going on. You're trying to take it in. Now, I have only seen the BBC highlights of the game. I'm thinking, well, they never showed that bit. So yeah, I would need to watch the full game again. But I just felt at times they didn't really create that much in the first half. Yeah, they got the goal, but that was a real, I would say, their best chance, and they took it. And it was just silly mistakes again from ourselves. But credit to Taylor. He got the goal, he got us back into the game. But he wasn't the only person that was below par at the weekend.
Yeah, no, look, again, I agree, but the only reason why I'm focusing on that because it led to a goal, and like what James said as well, only for Carter Vickers being the absolute colossus that he is, it would have been probably 2 goals that Greg Taylor would have been a fault for. And a lot of people, Jed, are talking about Alex Valle, and I think Smell the Glove comes in the comments. Valle's already talked about Barcelona being his home and kind of wanting to go back there and earn his opportunity, and look, that's fair enough. But as a Celtic board, at the moment, would you be planning getting the wheels in motion to bring in a new left back? Because obviously the uncertainty with Greg Taylor's contract situation, Roger has said time and time again that he wants him to stay, and obviously sound bites and managers aren't going to actually say they want a player to go, so take it with a pinch of salt. But again, the reaction I've seen on social media has been like there's been people saying that they want to see Greg Taylor in a Celtic shirt again over what they've seen in the weekend, and I know that takes it to the extreme, but the longer this drags on, the uncertainty get into it. We could be potentially getting into next summer with 0 left backs because Valle wants to try again at Barcelona. It's his boyhood club. Taylor seemingly looks the pastures new away from Celtic. So where does Celtic go from here? Do we stick with Taylor? Do we twist?
Well, we're probably going to have to stick with him at the moment, but we definitely need to be bringing new players in the January window. Now, it could. As you know, I've been very positive about getting players in on a loan to buy because I think it has worked well for us. Maybe this is ideal opportunity in January to look at a player because they maybe not want to come sign a full contract, but if they come and get a few months, I think, oh no, I'm quite enjoy this, and it seems to work for us if we do get players on the loan. A loan with the option to buy. But we definitely, it's not just left back. We need to look at the wingers. We need to look at cover for Carter Vickers on the right-hand side of the defence. Because Trusty and Scales are left-footed. So we need somebody because the name just Naroki.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to be getting anywhere near it. So we definitely I think we need 3 or 4 players in January. So we do. And again, somebody put up earlier, I can't remember who it is, he was cup-tied. But I felt we really missed Luke McGowan on Sunday. I thought that game would have been perfect for him to come on because he's got that wee bit bite about him. But hopefully we'll have him for the next game. So, but look, he couldn't do nothing, he couldn't have played anyway. But I just feel as though we weren't great. But at the bottom line, as James said as well, see, at the end of the day, when you look at the record books, it says we won. That's it. If it means us playing like that every time we play them, if we win the game, I'm quite happy to do that.
Yeah. No, again, the record books will say it all. But, I mean, getting into half-time, James, there was a lot of talk about who could come off, who could come on. And I was quite surprised that, obviously, until his explanation after the game, he kind of understood it, but I was quite surprised that the Rodgers made the change of taking Trusty off and bringing on Liam Scales. I don't know about you at the game. I didn't think Trusty did anything wrong apart from a slack pass to Carter Vickers near the end of the half as well and put him under pressure. But apart from that, I thought he was quite solid. I thought he covered the ground well. Did you see anything at the game that maybe suggested that he wasn't doing well, or it wasn't, as Roger said, the passing wasn't quick enough, he was taking too many opportunities? Because I didn't see it. Maybe I was being naive there, but what about you?
I was quite surprised at that as well, to be honest. I just assumed it was an injury. But to be fair, watching it back, there is a few times he can play forward, and he does, as we've done quite a bit, to be fair. It wasn't just him, but basically playing it across the back four and playing it back to Schmeichel. Schmeichel probably seen more of the ball on Sunday than he has all season, the amount of passes we played back to him, it felt like. But no, but I was still surprised. I was surprised to see him get off, but I like him. I know he got a bit of stick after his first couple of games, which was way too early, but I like the look of him. I hope he comes back in at the weekend. I think he's been solid. He complements Carter Vickers very well. What I will say as well is, and it's maybe a wee bit harsh, but it was something I noticed. Was the Bruges game, wasn't it? Carter Vickers scores the own goal. I think I actually put it in the chat at the time. It was something I noticed at the game. There was a couple of times that Carter Vickers could have carried the ball out of defence, and it was just before the OG, and Rodgers, you could actually see him shouting, which I thought was unusual. And then it was a couple of minutes later, it was kind of similar again, and it was Kennedy that jumped off the bench and started shouting as well. And I don't know, but I think it's just because I noticed that at the game that I now notice it more, that especially in the first half, if you watch it, Carter Vickers was very reluctant to kind of see. I know it's not maybe his game, like he's not like a kind of Ayer or like a Van Dijk in terms of like the strength is carrying the ball forward, but I felt he was very reluctant to do it, and I think having Trusty beside him in that scenario when it's maybe no needed their kind of best strength, I think that also kind of it was almost, that first half was almost like watching his last season. That's what I said at half time anyway, in terms of it felt that a lot of the play was sideways and backwards. There wasn't much going forward at all. I know we had a couple of kind of maybe a wee couple of half chances, but there wasn't anything sustained. They certainly seemed the more likely. They probably deserved the lead at half time as well in the balance of play, in fairness, but it's just something that I've noticed the last few weeks. But look, if your defender's not doing that and he's stopped my 4-on-1, then you can't really complain. But it's just something that I've noticed.
So, James, just to come back, do you think Rodgers is telling them not to drive into midfield and just play the ball and keep playing? No. Is that what you think's happening?
No, I think he's telling them. I think he'll be telling the both of them to do that, but they just aren't, and that's how we're seeing like across the back four and back to Schmeichel, who's then dinking it out to wingers or fullbacks or whatever. It's just something I've noticed. As I say, just because I clocked that at the Bruges game, I think it's just in my head, and it's something that I noticed more and more as the weeks have went by. And then, as I say, when he takes Trusty off and then comes out after it, as I say, I assumed at the time it was an injury, and then you hear his explanation after it, then I suppose that does make sense. But to be fair, who would have said even 6 months ago that we'd be bringing Liam Scales on in a cup final as a ball-playing centre-back?
He done well.
That's kind of...
Aye, did.
But guys, I think as well, none of us have mentioned, I think we've all said it's been an upgrade in last season, our goalkeeper. Kasper Schmeichel, fantastic keeper. So yes, the way he calms everybody down. And if you look at the goal, that after the own goal against Bruges, you mentioned as well, James, it was him that got the players together, not McGregor. He's been a brilliant signing for us, I think. I hope he's going to stay for another season, because I still think he can still play at this level for another season. But that's me going to be sideways. But I thought he had a good game in Sunday.
You can tell his experience. I mean, he's still a top class goalkeeper, number one for Denmark, and you can see that. I know people like to have a wee laugh about his belly, like he's carrying a bit of timber, but he's flexible as ever. He's really agile, and he's really good with the ball at his feet as well. So
look at the save.
Yeah,
because obviously the Celtic end, it looked as though when he went down, his arms grew to stretch out to get. It was a great save. So it was.
Yeah, it was a great save. Well, come on to that, Jed. You've skipped ahead again. Come on. I'm joking. Move on to the second half. I think Rodgers put a wee firework up the arses, to be fair. Celtic came out quickly. Bernardo with a wee bit of pressure. Corner kick. Bernardo whips it in. Didn't come to much. Broke the edge of the box. And Jed, coming to yourself, Greg Taylor there. First time shot. deflection, they all count, and we're back level. And obviously, being at the game, I'm sure it was mental, but it was a great response coming back out again and getting one each fairly quickly, and then obviously what led after that.
Yeah, I mean, just prior to that as well, there was a cross put in with a free kick at Scales, just headed just wide. So you could see the momentum was with us. And like I say, when the goal went in, I knew it came off a Rangers player. I just didn't know what player. And then we just seemed to grab the game there, and we were in the ascendancy. Then we got the second goal, and I was screaming, "Just get the third! We get a third goal here. That we will just take care of the game." But look, we didn't manage to do that. But just Taylor, I was pleased for Taylor. Like we all said, nobody likes to see a player making mistakes. But when he got the deflection, but I don't know if I was another one who thought this. Remember the last time Greg Taylor scored against Rangers? That was a deflected shot, and we got beat. So I was thinking, please do not let it be the same again. So it's a
bad omen.
Yes,
bad omen when Greg Taylor scores. I think he even mentioned that in his post match as well.
Yeah, but and I just felt Rangers were there for the taking, and then we got the second goal. Was it 4 minutes after the first? So it was, and I'm actually quite glad it was what's his name, Raskin, that made the own goal, made the mistake for the second goal, dived in for the third goal when he was away and giving it large when Rangers went 1-0 up to the second. So karma's a bitch, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep, it definitely is. And like what Jed was saying there, the second goal came quickly after through Diza Mieta being his usual self, buzzing about, capitalises on a mistake. I think it was Balogun messed it up in terms of the clearance. Mieta puts a toe in, gets the ball. And to be fair, when seeing the ball went up in the air, I'm not going to lie, I thought he was going to miscontrol it and was going to go out for a goal kick. But he took it down really well and put it past Butland.
You watch it again.
Yeah, he's an enigma. Like, I don't think he meant it, James, but it's one of them ones. Dyson seems to have a good record against them, a good record against Tavernier. He scores, I think maybe that's his 5th or 6th goal against them, which is a good return. And again, 4 minutes after Greg Taylor's deflected goal, it must have been a great feeling in the stadium. I can only imagine the celebrations. But I was watching it in my grandparents' house with my brother and my 2 daughters, and my youngest, she's only 1. And I literally vaulted over her head, jumping up in the air. I just jumped over and was like, yeah, turned around, she was crying. Obviously doesn't understand, it was mad. But yeah, what was that feeling like? Dyson scoring, and let's be fair, quiet game, yes, but he stood up when it counted.
Different class, kind of similar to what you're saying. I was behind the goals. I think it was row double D, and I was pulling out the gloves, getting ready to catch his shot. And then obviously the first touch is
brilliant,
as good as it can be. And then the second touch is even better. And you're just waiting in the finish. Like this literally could go anywhere. But obviously sticks it away. And absolutely brilliant. Really, probably unexpected. It's the most undying Maida goal I think ever. But genuinely different class. It was brilliant. But that's another one. And in my head, when we left the game, I'm saying he's ran round Tavernier and then kicked it over him and fucking he'd kicked it and all this. And then when I seen it back, I'm like, all right, it's still a good goal, but I think in my head he's ran for the halfway line. But no, different class, and as I say, totally. I don't know if you can say it's unexpected as much as it is just a lottery. As I say, whether it's going to scone you in the face and end up in your back Gearden, or he'll stick it in the tap corner. But nah, brilliant. And as I say, we were talking about earlier, that kind of 4-on-1. That was just before we equalised, and I actually remember at the time saying we need to make that count. Because realistically, it should have been 2-0, and that needs to count for something. And then, 10 minutes later, you're 2-1 up, and at that point, we were well in the ascendancy, and it looked like we were going to go and score again, score another couple, possibly. Kuhn was bang at it. I thought Hatate really grew into the game as well. And it was all pointing in one direction, and then for whatever reason, it just didn't go that way. It didn't go the way it should have at that point.
Yeah, I know. And to be fair as well, Neil Lennon said that in the commentary when that 4-1 chance was kind of scuppered, that he feels like that's going to be a pivotal moment in the game. And it was to a certain extent. And Project McNugget comes in. Is this on a Tuesday? No, it's only a Tuesday today because of scheduling and things like that. But I've been saying for weeks, the schedule's up in the air at the moment. Hopefully January, when things are back to normal and Christmas is over, we'll be back to the full flight again. So we'll keep you posted on that. But we're doing our best. We are doing our best.
The guys dropping lies wellness. So
and yes, people are sick as well, so that can't be helped. But what about yourself, Jed, in terms of Dyson Maiden and the second goal? He is an enigma of a player. His pressing, his kind of athleticism cannot be doubted. He's so dynamic. He's so quick. He never stops. Obviously, the other side of his game is hit and miss. And I think we've said it before, Jed, if he kept that consistent and had a first touch all the time and scored, he wouldn't be at us. So let's be honest, the whole package of a Dyson Maeda would not be a Celtic Football Club. But to have that on the off chance and to show up in certain games like he done on Sunday against them, I mean, it counts for something, and it was a fantastic goal.
Yeah, and like James said there, I mean, he does seem to score the goals against Rangers. He's just got that bit of pace that terrorises the defenders. They're frightened to do anything. And you could see after that, I felt we should have just went for it. Just kept giving the ball to him, give the ball to Kuhn and run at him. Because they were panicking. Their fans were so quiet then. James, I don't know if you noticed that. They were so down. They were fearing because they knew we were going at it. And then we let them back into the game. So we did. And then it was back to square one again. But yeah, I think he's brought us a lot of, since Maeda's came, even his first game he scored against him, doesn't he? Very first game for us. He played as a striker in that game.
Aye.
People remember a lot of the good things rather than the bad things, because he has done a hell of a lot of good things for us, and he has gave a lot of us good memories. So he has.
Yeah, and he is an enigma of a player. And talking about the goal we conceded, James, they make it 2 each. Obviously, we were in the ascendancy. Arne Engels came on at that time, and he was challenged with the task of marking, or looked like he was marking, or trying to mark Diamande at a corner kick. And it came in. I think they took it short, and they fizzed it in. Diamande turns him, takes a deflection of Kuhn going past Kasper Schmeichel. Who do you blame in that situation? Was it weak defending? Was it bad goalkeeping? Or was it just a combination of a few errors?
I must admit, at the game, Engels has to do better. Well, I like Engels. I've stuck up for Engels a lot in the past. Obviously, I've not been on here in recent weeks, but obviously reading the group chat, I've kind of stuck up for him. But I know he sets up the goal, but I thought he was poor when he came on. I thought it was as if the ball was a bomb anytime it was near him. I think he has to be stronger. You can't let him get turned and get a shot away there. At the game, I thought Schmeichel was at fault as well, because it didn't seem to have much power on it. But as I say, I was behind the goals at the Celtic end, so I literally couldn't be further away from it. And then when I seen it back on the telly, I think it does take a wee nick off Kyogo, which maybe beats Schmeichel. It kind of bounces over him. But for me, the Engels, regardless of the touch off Kyogo and whether or no Schmeichel should or shouldn't do better with it, the Engels he has to be stronger there. Even if he blocks the shot, but you can't let him swivel and get a shot away there. And he has to do better.
I do agree, to be fair. And go ahead, Ted, sorry.
Well, what I felt being at the game, it's such a hard game I'm talking for both sets of players coming on as a sub to try and make an impact, because it's just, you've got no time on the ball at all. They were just bang. And that is where Engels has struggled with that. He thinks he's got more time than what he's actually got. So he kept losing the ball at times. And everybody was screaming. I'm giving him a bit of slack now. So I'm just, because look at Kuhn last season, people were on his back, and look at the season he has now. The guy's still really young. And at the end of the day, he made the pass for us to get the goal. So it is difficult. I think everybody's wanting him to do well. It's not his fault the club paid £11 million for him. That's not the player's fault. So I think fans need to cut him a wee bit of slack. He's not been in the door that long. I mean, go back in at Larson's first game against Hibs, Easter Road, gave the ball to Chuck Charnley. Bang. So cut him a bit of slack. I know.
See, to be fair, as well, Jess. Sorry to come in there, but I think as well, and this was my fault watching the game. There was a situation where, if strange how the doctor says it, if Arne Engels pushes up with the line of the defence, that player would have been offside. But his game intelligence didn't do that, and he stayed with the player, and the defensive line pushed up, and therefore he played that player onside and led to the goal. I do agree with the fact that he needs to be stronger, 100%. And you know me, I'm very off the cuff and very critical, and sometimes act with emotion with players, but there's just something that tells me that he's going to come good and he's going to be a special player for Celtic in the future. Yes, at times he gets caught in the ball, right? But I do think a lot of that's to do with the pace of the game, right? The Bundesliga is a better quality, but if we're all about speed all the time and that kind of relentless back and forth, I think sometimes the Scottish games underestimate it. And we do that a lot as supporters. We underestimate the kind of product, but the speed of the game, I think, really catches him off guard at times. And like you said, Jed, I do agree. He's a wee bit lackadaisical and he thinks he's got more time than he does, and he turns into trouble. But the odd occasion, and that wee bit of brilliance comes through, James, in terms of his lead-up play for the third goal for us to go ahead again. He takes the ball midfield. He plays a nice ball to Ralston, who I thought didn't read it at all, but he got there. And then he bombs up the right-hand side alongside him, takes the ball off Kuhn, and then he has to readjust his body to play that assist back into Kuhn. And in a one movement, by the way, he had no time, otherwise it would have gone out for a goal kick at the time. Plays it back in, and Kuhn scores from that. That's the type of thing that he's good at. Do you know what I mean? He can see them situations, he can read them situations, but maybe he needs to kind of his game intelligence and speed of thought needs to come up with the rest of the team. And I do believe, James, that'll come in time. But the third goal, the build-up, Arne Engels and Kuhn with the finish.
Different class for him in that instance. But I don't think Engels has been a bad signing. I think he gets a lot of unwarranted stick, as Jed says. The price tag is nothing to do with the player. If we'd signed this guy for £2 million or something, we wouldn't be having half the conversations we've had. And I get that's a kind of daft argument, because at the end of the day we did pay the money for him, we did break our transfer record, so you're expecting him to come in and hit the ground running. I think he's had a couple of bad games. I think definitely Sunday was probably one of them. He still sets up a goal. I think he was it Bruges he was pretty poor against as well.
Yeah.
But I'm the exact same. He's come in for a different league, different country, still a young guy. He's pretty much still just in the door. He's coming into a good team, particularly in midfield. We lost O'Reilly. Whether we say it out loud or no, he is the O'Reilly replacement, so he's got big shoes.
But he's not O'Reilly though. He's a totally different player. And I think people
exactly.
People think he's coming in to be O'Reilly and score goals and assist all the time, but he's totally different, James, in what he offers the team.
100%. And I think when he played for, was it Augsburg in Germany? I think he played deeper. He was made a kind of holding midfielder, and it looks like, to be honest, it doesn't really look like he's doing one or the other now. He's kind of floating in between being attacking minded and being maybe a sitter. I think obviously in our team, and again it's a discussion we've had umpteen times, I think McGregor is going to always be the kind of deepest of the three. Me personally, I, even just for one game, just to get a look at it, I'd maybe like to see Engels sitting at the deepest in his more, I suppose, kind of natural position, and let McGregor push on one. I feel as if I say that fucking every 2 weeks or something on here, but I would like to see it, because, as I say, it does appear to be his natural position, and it does have that kind of, was it the Rangers game actually at Parkhead? He plays a ball up the line. It might have even been the offside goal, come to think it. But there was a game at Parkhead. He plays a brilliant ball up the line, and I don't think anybody else in our team would have seen that pass was on, and he did play it for deep. So I think he could play that kind of deep line playmaker role, as long as you've got McGregor there as a kind of a bit of, for want of a better phrase, a bit of muscle to kind of help him out with a wee bit more dig about him. But look, I like him. I definitely think there's a player there. And as you say, for the goal, I think you're maybe doing Ralston a wee bit of disservice, to be honest. I don't think it was the best pass to him, but definitely the cutback, again, as you say, it's different class, the awareness. He just kind of knows where Kuhn's going to be. Aye, brilliant. And it's in the moments that obviously the price tag does show. But as I say, for the rest of it, in open play, I must admit, every time the ball went near him, my heart was in my mouth, because Hatate was kind of similar in the first half. As Jez says, he did want a kind of fortnight on the ball every time. There was a close count of the amount of times in the first half Hatate kept trying to let the ball run across him so he could take it in the turn, and as soon as he was trying to go, somebody was right up his arse. So that's lessons it's got to learn. Look, there really isn't an excuse for Hatate doing it, but he kind of grew into the game. But Engels is going to learn for it and get better for it. And I have no doubts in my mind that 6 months in a year's time we'll be sitting here talking about how good he is and it was worth it and all the rest of it. I do think there's a lot of potential in him for what I've seen.
But James, also as well, I know Tone put it up there as well. At least they had the balls to stand up and say, I'll take a penalty. When you look across the side, certain players didn't even want to take a penalty. So for the guy to know himself, he's probably struggling, I'll take one. To me, that shows he's got it. He's wanting to step up. If he was no, I don't want to take it. So credit where it's due. He wanted to take a penalty.
Mm-hmm. He just, as time will go on, he just needs to build up that awareness and self-belief and confidence. And that'll all come, obviously, with game time. I think Rodgers is doing the right thing at the moment. He's taking him in and out of the team. He's stripping him back in again. He's done that with a lot of players like Bernardo with Tate through his tenure. So I believe he's doing the right thing for him mentally as a player. But Jed, you spoke about Kuhn and coming to what is it, James?
I was just laughing at San Fran's comment there. He refuses to find a new scapegoat until Taylor moves.
But you spoke about Kuhn and about us jumping to conclusions. And I look at him. He got his goal again on Sunday. I thought, for the most part, he gave Jeff Deal a run around, especially in the first half. His pace is incredible, over 5 to 10 yards. That short burst, and at times they had to kind of double up, even triple up, to kind of nullify him as a threat. They've done that quite well at times, but he breaks into the box. We spoke about Arne Engels and his cutback, and it was a great finish by Kuhn, and he's done that all season. And I mean, Roger spoke about last season about Scales being that breakout player. He's never seen that type of improvement from a player before. From where Kuhn was in January last year, or last season till now, that transformation has been nothing short of sensational.
Correct, and scoring that goal with his weak foot as well. You know, we all say he always cuts in his left foot, so he took his time and placed it. You know, I thought it was a great goal, and I think we all thought we've won the cup here, but we didn't. You know, there was more drama up at the end of the pitch. So it's just about cult me there and then, to be honest.
Yeah. Where would you put Kuhn? Again, maybe a premature conversation, but where would you put Kuhn and Jed with the likes of Abada and Jota?
I think he's definitely getting there. I think he just maybe needs another few games in Europe. But domestically, I think he's already there. Without a doubt, he's already there. It's just see what it is in Europe. We've got another 2 games in this Champions League section. Let's hope he has a wonder game against Young Boys, and then I hope he puts on an amazing play down at Villa Park when we play Aston Villa. Then we'll have a chance. But for Scottish football, he's already there, without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, for me, James, I think his impact, and I know Abada had good numbers, but I think overall from my opinion, he's a far better player than what Leo Abada brought to the team. I think Abada was just, obviously, fed off scraps in the box and things of that nature, but taking on players, he was kind of non-existent. And Kuhn, for me, has both that in his locker. He can be in the box scoring goals, he can be taking people on, cutting in, hitting great shots like we've seen in the Champions League. I mean, his impact has been sensational. You mentioned O'Reilly. I think Kuhn stepped up and really replaced them numbers that we've been missing.
Definitely, aye. The talk of the comparison to like Abada and Jota, I still have Jota kind of top of that list at the moment, just purely based off the length of time. The Abada thing, I suppose, is an out and out winger. Then it would be Kuhn all day long. But I think Abada just fitted Postecoglou's style of football down to a T. I mean, the amount of goals he scored coming in at the back post, obviously up against Barisic, was unreal. And it's goals that you don't really see Kuhn scoring. Kuhn scores goals that you'd maybe expect a winger to score, if that makes sense. In the terms of getting the ball down and dribbling and beating players, that wasn't something that Abada really done. Abada just tended to kind of kick the ball 10 yards past the defender and try and catch it at the other side of him. And to be fair, it worked on occasion, but it wasn't his strength. So it's a good conversation to have between Kuhn and Abada. I'd probably lean towards Kuhn. That's maybe recency bias, to be fair. But in terms of his goal, great composure to keep it down, mainly. I mean, how many times have you seen them getting skied over the bar? And obviously guide it through the bodies that were there. But I'm probably a wee bit different for Jed. Maybe I'm just a kind of doom and gloom merchant. But when I seen it was 87 minutes, I'm like, oh no, that's too early to be a late goal. we need to have hit the 90 for that to be classed as a late goal. And then obviously they run up the park and equalise. But nah, I think that just fed in for me, no feeling confident in the morning, and then the way the game went, and obviously them scoring first. We know the stats about the team scoring first and how often they go on and win and things like that. So, maybe I'm just a wee bit doom and gloom. And then when we go to penalties, I don't think I was confident with any player that stepped forward. So, probably says more about me than anything.
With the penalties, the only guy I was not confident taking a penalty was Callum McGregor.
To be fair, his record wasn't great.
The rest of them I was actually quite confident, but Callum McGregor I wasn't, and credit where it's due, he absolutely buried it. So he did.
See before we move on to the third goal, the one we conceded to bring in extra time, just to come back to you, James, quickly, and then yourself, Jed. Howard Moon comes in here as the left wing position, the priority come the January transfer window. Obviously, in relation to that, you can bring on Forrest to kind of supplement Kuhn, and you can bring on Yang for that side. The left side, I know we'll have Louis Palma, James, but I think he's ran his course. And even though he was front and face in the celebrations and all the team photographs, he was there, like he scored the winning goal. But fair play to him, he's obviously good. That phrase, good around the dressing room. But do you think that position, we need to kind of have someone in the challenge Maida to get a rest? Just to get a rest, do you know what I mean?
I think we have to. As I say, I am literally Palma's biggest and probably only fan at this point. But nah, I don't. I think he'll probably be away to the MLS or Real Madrid or something in January. And I think we've got to, because you look at like Yang. I think Yang's actually been no as bad as he normally is the last few times he's come on. But still, I think it's too big a drop off. Basically from Maida to the rest of them.
Yeah. What about yourself, Jed? Think we need another left winger in?
Oh, I said earlier about the positions we need to get in January, and the wing is definitely one of them. Yeah, I do believe that Yang's ahead of Palma at the moment. So it's we were all hoping Palma would be that player. Look, is there still time for him to do it? I don't know.
Nah, I think he's.
I don't like to say
he's run his course,
but I know my that's what my heart's telling me.
He's done. Let's be fair, Jed. Us three would be ahead of Palma if we were in the Celtic squad. Do you know what I mean? I think Rodgers couldn't be any more clear than he does with fancy as a player.
A few years ago, no, now.
You never know. But straight back, there's James had the anxiety about us conceding, and he was right. He well founded in that issue. Tierney cuts down. To be fair, by the way, said he should have stopped the cross coming in. He didn't.
You need to
And, Tierney puts it.
unplug and put your head. You need to plug and unplug your headset, mate. It's gone off, Tinny.
Can you hear me?
That's you, aye, that's it.
Can you hear me?
No.
Aye,
I'm back. Right. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, they just catch me where I got to or need to start again?
No,
I've got to the
goal
bit where
equaliser.
Tierney put the cross in. That was
Yeah, so Tierney whips the ball in. I think it's Danilo. Ralston seems to get caught out at the back post as usual. He comes in, puts it past Kasper Schmeichel. Dead. 3 each. That goal for me should have been stopped. I think maybe Carter Vickers could have been tighter. Ralston could have read it a wee bit more. Could Kasper Schmeichel come and punch? You know, there was a few things that would be sorted out there.
To me, it shouldn't have been brought in. Shouldn't have been allowed. They should have been tighter on him to stop the ball coming in. And you know, yeah, we're all blaming. Well, people are blaming Ralston because he let him get in front of him. See, at the end of the day, you know, we're all raging, but it was a fantastic cross for the guy. So it was. It was a great cross. I mean, if that shoe was another foot, we would be raving about it. So it was
Yeah.
Carter Vickers couldn't get anywhere near it. Just the way the ball came down, it was quite high going over Vickers and then just dropped perfectly into Danilo. And I couldn't believe it. Just couldn't believe it. My heart just sunk. And James, you're probably the same as well. It was just the whole Celtic game was just boom. That was. As I say, it was a major boot between the legs, let's just say.
What about yourself, James? What was the feeling like where you were in the stadium at that point?
Okay, initially for me, I thought, just obviously if you've seen it without seeing replays, I thought it was on Schmeichel. I just thought when the ball's that close to him in the box, he has to, but at least not even catching it, but punching it or getting something on it to get it away. But then watching it back, it is a bit of calamity errors in it. Maida, or people, the one you wouldn't expect it to come for, just lets him get away from him. And the annoying thing is, and I'd actually said it to my mates before the game, anytime I've seen that guy, that Tierney, all he does is take the ball wide and then cut inside. And it's exactly what he done. He took it out wide and then he brings it back in so he can get the cross. And as Jed says, it is a good cross. For me, it's still close enough for the goalkeeper to come and get something on it. But the cross, having seen it back, it shouldn't get in the first instance. Maida should block it. And then, as you say, it's a toss-up between Carter Vickers and Ralston. It's probably, well, it is literally somewhere in between them. But I was going to say out the three of them, then you think back to the first goal, but that goal was entirely preventable at the first instance before it even got in the box. And you say that you're up here and then literally 20 seconds later you're away down there again and you're looking at extra time. And extra time, to be fair, didn't really well. I suppose it brought one minor talking point that might have been mentioned once or twice throughout the week, but apart from that, extra time didn't really.
What's that, James? The linesman at the main stand end, he was an absolute joke. Absolute joke. Is that what we're talking about?
I know there was a couple of was it Yilmaz? There was a couple of times he took the ball, well, it looked like he took the ball out, and the linesman was at the other end of the park and couldn't see it, let the game go on, and then kind of mind who it was it Forrest or somebody took the ball out, and then you could see that all right. But look, I know we're going to come on and talk about the penalty, but even out with that, I thought the referee was terrible. I thought there was so many different things. There was things that I didn't even notice having watching the game back. But I just thought the referee was terrible overall.
James, the one thing that I really noticed about the game, even before at the game, was how, and especially the main stand side linesman, how he allowed, where the ball went out, he allowed the Rangers player to go 20 yards.
Take it anywhere.
Take it up, free kicks, and the referee done nothing about it as well. Absolute joke. And the one of Carter Vickers hit it off the Rangers player and he gave it the other way. Come on. Come on.
Did Carter Vickers get booked as well? I can't mind if he get booked or he just gave a foul, but he couldn't have won any made ball and he gave a foul for it.
Yeah. But see, at the end of the day, I know we're going to talk about the penalty. Listen, as I said the other night in the WhatsApp, karma's a bitch. We have done it for years where they've been given penalties against us. We haven't had penalties. So what goes around comes around.
Well, I mean, let's get stuck into that because, as you said, James, that kind of extra time as an event was null and void apart from that talking point. I think Arne Engels broke into the box but miscontrolled it. Like you said, that the ball was a hot potato at his feet at points in that game, but he miscontrolled a great ball and we could have went ahead, but we didn't. But yeah, let's talk about that, James. Liam Scales, I think it was on Dessers, wasn't it? Was it Dessers? No. Was it Cherny? Cherny, yes. Right, but before I want to kind of build this up a wee bit. So I've seen Chris Boyd have a meltdown. I've seen Rangers podcast get the former Scottish referee on their podcast, which is insane, to say it was a penalty kick. I've seen people talking about the gap being close and tight now, James, after this result. We've heard this all before. But mainly as penalty kick narrative, Patrick Stewart, their new chief executive, straight in the first day, he's demanding meetings with the SFA, playing to the gallery to see what they could do. They can't do anything. We won the cup. But the initial foul for me, when I look back on it, was outside the corner of the box. Liam Scales puts his foot in and Cherny kind of trips. And I think that's where it was given. The lead up after that was the kind of the pull and the tugging. And Liam Scales was in the box, but Cherny was on the line. So there are a wee bit of blurred lines here or whatever. But I firmly believe it was called for that incident. What do you believe about this fallout? It's been incredible to say the least. It's been insane. But where do you stand on it? Can we give a fair and balanced view here? Is it karma? Is it John Beaton was too quick to get the whistle in his mouth? What was it?
It's a penalty, in my opinion, is what it was. And I love the fact that I think it's a penalty. I thought that'll be 119 each now. In fact, no, I think it's 124-19 because I've got the fucking Ramsden's Cup and all that. No, I think it's a penalty. I think if we're being honest and it was roles reversed, we'd be screaming for it as a penalty as well. The initial foul is outside the box, but the tug is on the line, which is in the box. For me, it's a penalty. And as I say, obviously they're going to focus on that one incident. Sour grapes, if you will, but I mean, poor point of view, as I've already mentioned the Carter Vickers one, I've already spoke about the linesman. Raskin, I think Balogun as well, they must have been on their 87th, I think, warning before they actually get booked. They were just running about kicking in that moved. Yefty as well, I think he goes right, I'm sure it was Yefty, goes right down the back of Kuhn. I don't even think we got a fibble for that. But look, at the end of the day, it's a penalty. I think it's hilarious that it's a penalty. I think it's made the week. It's been brilliant. It's made Super Scoreboard and the likes all that even wee bit sweeter after a cup final win. But and for all this talk about gaps, and I've said it before the game, every time we don't go out and pump them 3-0, the gap isn't there. It's non-existent. And see this chat about gaps as well. Oh, there we go. But see all this chat about gaps as well. That needs binned. That doesn't come for us. We never speak about the gap, really. We say we're a better team. The league table proves that. The trophy hall proves that. We are the better team. We've got better players. We're obviously better financed and all the rest of it. But all this pish about a gap, we bet them 3-0 2 months ago, and it was a chasm. It was a canyon. The gap was massive. And then we fast forward to now, and they've had another 3 each model victory, and they should have got a penalty cup. I don't think he did. I thought.
Asked that. Did he blow it? I can't even. Did he blow it before the?
I thought he let it go because I thought the ball kind of breaks across and then he blows for it. Look, I know obviously it's up for. I don't know what the script is. I was just in the assumption the initial foul is outside the box. I didn't think he blew the whistle at that point. So look, I stand to be corrected, but even if he sees that as a foul and he essentially plays an advantage, and then the foul, whether you say it's a continuation of the foul or another foul, if you want, it's two separate fouls. The second one, regardless, it still is on the line. So for me, it still would be in the books. I'd be asking with all your millions why he would be able to take you to penalties, and you get lucky by us not getting a stone waller.
Right, can I come back with that one as well? Right, fine. If they're saying it should have been a penalty, that's fine. But look, let's go back. How many penalties has Celtic not had against Rangers? What about Goldson? He got goalkeeper of the year. The amount of handballs he was saving. So come on, like I say, it's what goes around comes around. We could
So do you think it was a penalty then, Jed? Do you think it was a penalty?
Look, once I've seen it, what I do not know is, did the referee blow the whistle before he then continued to pull? If he didn't, yes, it is a penalty. Listen, we can go to iBox and get beat. It won't matter. The big grand schemes of things. Because
no, Jed, that would close the gap. What would that be? 8 points then?
But like you say,
the Rangers are back, Jed, at 8 points.
Right, okay. It's all ifs, buts, maybes. What if Rangers drop points against Dundee this Saturday where they were calling for Clement to go again? 3 weeks ago he was worse than Beale. Now he's a new Steven Gerrard. Come on.
That's the thing. I actually was saying that to my mate earlier. Look, I don't think you can deny that they do look better than they did
a
month or two ago. But you look at their last games, I mean, they've had 3 games. Was it St Johnstone, Ross County and Kilmarnock, I think? I mean, it's 3 games that you would expect them to win, and they won them. They then had 2 games that you wouldn't expect them to win, and they didn't win them. So for all this bravado that they're this back and excellent, they weren't expected to beat Spurs and they didn't beat them. They weren't expected to beat us and they didn't beat us. So I think it is all just kind of bravado, essentially, as I say. I think they look better than they did a month or 6 weeks ago, but I don't think it would have been. Well, I think it would have been hard to look much worse, if we're being honest.
See, to be fair as well, I'm going to come in here a wee bit. And look, I don't mind that there's a Rangers fan or Rangers fans on the podcast, as long as it's all good banter and whatever good comments not coming in. And it comes in with a comment here. Why is it every time we play, you're off form? We took McGregor out of the game and you didn't look half the team. And by the way, we've said this. We've said that in terms of the team you've improved over the last couple of weeks, and we're not making excuses, but what we can say, and evidence points to this, especially the league table, is we were off form but still managed to win a game. If you look at previous games throughout the season, we've been electric. The press has been good. We've been scoring goals for fun. Even beat yourselves 3-0 as well in a quite easy game that could have been more. So again, we've been off for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and yous have gained form, which is fair enough. And we met at Hampden, and we were still crap, and we still won, and we still have that psychological edge. And mentioning going to Ibrox, and that's all well and good. Who knows what that game's going to provide? That's on the 2nd of January. We can look to that ahead of time when we get to that week. But it's one of these things, and we're not making excuses. It's just what we see as Celtic fans. We were shit. We still won the game, and we're the cup champions, which is, as you both said, is in the history books, and that's fair enough. But I mean, James, I don't know what yourself thinks about that. Are we making excuses? I think we're giving credit where it's due here. To be fair, I think we can say that they played well, maybe spooked us a bit, took us a while to get the grips of it, and what panned out is we still won the game.
Aye, and look, it's a cup final. It's a one-half game. I mean, we've seen in the league game, gave them their due. They came out and they were absolutely brilliant for 5-10 minutes, and then we sussed it out and we went on to canter it. It's cup finals, or how many cup finals do you see that's one-sided and you run away with it? It doesn't happen all that often, regardless of who's playing in them. So look, I mean, do you think who's going to take more confidence out that game? Do you think it's going to be us or going to be them? I mean, you heard, was it Butland giving his interview after the game saying it will sting for a while? We can all sit here and say we didn't play well, but as you say, at the end of the day, the cup's in the cabinet. We're now the most successful team in the country, which is undisputed in the record books. And onwards and upwards for here. We've got millions in the bank. We're coming into another transfer window. If the manager feels that we need to kick on again and improve, then the money's there to do it, regardless of how difficult it is to sign players in January. We're getting to that time of year again. But nah, look, as I say,
James,
we'll take far more confidence for it.
See, you mentioned someone put up earlier as well. I can't remember about how he was actually quite glad that Rangers put up that fight because it will mean the board won't just sit back and do nothing. Us as fans will now be putting the pressure on the board to get buy-in, to getting players in. So that's only good. Let's be honest, and if the Rangers fans are commenting there, where is Rangers going to get the money to strengthen in January?
Aye. But see this notion as well that seems to be coming across that they're absolutely delighted with how their team played and they're absolutely delighted that they lost a cup final. I mean, does that not just kind of show you the mindset? Do you know what I mean? I mean, any phone in or whatever I've listened to, they don't sound delighted. So again, we're all coming down to this bravado chat, and it's all chat about gaps. And what is a gap? A gap. I mean, unless we're talking about the league table, a gap. We can't measure a gap. Do you know what I mean? That's what bugs me with it when people keep talking about this gap. It's such a nothing statement. It doesn't mean anything. Everything points to us being the better team. We've got the better finances and everything. Teams can have an off day. Teams can have a really good day. But at the end of the day, exactly. As Paul says, levels, that's it.
Yeah.
Totally agree. And see, to be fair, like, Aberdeen could point to taking us to extra time as well. It happens in these cup games. They're one-offs, like you said, and teams give their all. And unfortunately, sometimes we can be shit and still win. And that's just how it goes, you know what I mean? And in terms of that, and all comes in there, 119. I'm not crying. It's fine. It's just football. My life goes on. More important things in life, my friend. That's fair enough. And look, we welcome the debate and welcome the chat as well.
I think as well, as James said, yes, Rangers over the last few weeks have improved. Everybody can see that. Everybody can see that. So yeah, give them credit for that. But a month ago, 6 weeks ago, they were horrendous. They could only get better. And they have got better. They went and they started to play two up front as well. And yes, they did give us a game on Sunday.
And let's not forget through this.
We now know what we're going to be up against when we go in the 2nd of January. And we just need hope. We can't guarantee they're going to play like that again and we're going to play as bad again. We could turn up and be absolutely amazing. We could turn up and be totally shite. No one knows.
They were world beaters last year as well. Let's not forget that, and we've seen how that ended. So, as I say, bravado, mindset, levels, call it what you want, but I know whose shoes I'd rather be in.
And by the way, I actually thought, I said to my Rangers mates, I actually fancied them to beat Spurs on Thursday night. And it would have been a travesty if they did lose the game because they were the better team.
Irony is lost.
I know. I have no comment on that, by the way. So we're talking about a game that happened literally a couple of days ago. But yeah. So, James, let's move on. Penalty kicks. We're talking about mentality. Mentality of champions, kind of digging out the result. And even our captain Failure Tavernier, called out players or it seemed to be a call out to players who didn't have the balls to stand up and take a penalty kick. They left that there on Yilmaz and Butland, but we'll come on to that. But let's talk about our penalty kick takers, James. I'm never confident when Celtic go into a penalty shootout because our records aren't that great. We always seem to have crap penalty takers, but the people who stood up and were counted, like Ida, Engels, McGregor, do you know what I mean? They stood up, they took the penalties well. Dyson Maeda gets the winning one. And who would have thought that? He said he miskicked it. He said he miskicked the penalty kick. So who knows where it would have ended up unless he miskicked it and it actually went in the bottom corner, which one is the game. But what was your thoughts in the penalty shootout?
We talking about mentality and winning mentality and all that. I definitely didn't have that when it went into the penalties. As I say, every day it stepped forward, I just wasn't confident. none more so than Maida. When Maida stepped forward, I thought there was more chance of ending up in the Clyde than the bottom corner. And as you say, even his run up seems weird when you watch it back, and then he miskicks it. But look, it's obviously got to be something we've practiced. Because I mean, what was it? Even was it last season? That was last season. We were horrendous at penalties, and then Ida comes in January, and we thought we'd found a penalty taker, and then I think he miss one or two as well, and then we were kind of passing him about the side, and obviously I don't think Engels has missed one yet, has he? To be fair, he's
missed
took a couple now. Has he missed one? Aye,
I think he's missed one, but the guys will be able to. I'm sure
Has
he's
he?
missed one. I could be
But
wrong.
I
In my head that he's missed one.
I think it's clearly it has to be something that we've practiced. But I can't lie, when I seen Maida stepping forward, I think I would have rather picked literally anybody else than the team.
James,
I'd probably fucking Brendan Rodgers taking it.
That was the calmest there was when he went up. But
well,
listen,
in fairness, that was a kind of free hit. There was probably more pressure on Hitachi's penalty.
Yes, and by the way, Rangers took some good penalties as well. I mean, Butland absolutely buried his. So did Denalo as well. So there was some decent penalties on both sides. And it's not. Listen, it's not a good way to lose a game. No way to lose a game. We've been there. I've seen us losing cup finals on penalties, but we've done it, and that's the main thing. But every single guy stood up. They put their hand up and went, "I'm going to take a penalty." So credit. They stepped up.
Yep.
They had the balls to do it. And every single one of them took a very good penalty. And that's why the trophy's back home. It's with other two trophies in display.
Yeah. And I think for me as well, that we spoke about mentality there briefly. That comes down to, and look, it might be a dig, it might not be, however way you interpret it. But if you look at our penalty kick takers, they were there, stood up, they counted. I mean, they had Dessers, Connor Barron on the pitch and all still, and I mean Jack Butland and they've left that on Yilmaz to take the penalty kicks at left back and the goalkeeper, and that to me just shows the kind of distinct lack of belief in themselves to actually stand up and take a penalty kick in a pressure situation. Dessers probably didn't want to miss one because he knows the abuse he probably would have got, and he probably chickened out of it. And that, we're talking about levels, we're talking about gaps. That's where that comes into it for me. Just that mentality of champions, winning year in, year out, and continuing that reign of success. That's the gap. I know James doesn't like talking about it, but that is the gap. Winning year in, year out, and breeding that mentality throughout the squad. Even the new players coming in, like Arne Engels being involved, and he carried the trophy into the dressing room after the game when you see kind of Celtic's highlight package on YouTube. So it all bodes well going forward. Great celebrations and a fantastic day, even though it was hard in the mouth, Jedi.
Yeah, I know. And listen, the Rangers fan at his own, yes, Cal McGregor didn't have a good game. But see, at the end of the day, he's got a record that every player in football would want. He's never lost a cup final. He's played in. That's mentality. That's a winner's mentality. That is the difference. You have a captain that you're hounding out the club. Mr. Disappointed as he likes to, he mentions everything like that. So, yes, we were not good, but we still won the cup. And that is all that matters. And I will say again,
100%.
I will play like that in January 2nd if it means we get a result.
Yeah, you can win ugly, and sometimes that's the best way of winning. And James, like everyone says about Tavernier, sail a line. I don't know if you've seen that meme on X and Twitter and things like that. It's quite funny. But what about yourself? I know you were talking about that kind of anxiety you had during the day and during the game, but after all seeing the celebrations, it must have been incredible being there and experiencing that.
Aye, brilliant. And as I say, just waking up in the morning based off nothing at all and gut feeling, I just wasn't feeling confident. And then obviously with how the game plays out, especially obviously conceding right away for the 3 each, then going to penalties, and I just wasn't confident in penalties. So I suppose you could say it was unexpected, and that's always the best ones. Aye, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. And then after it, getting a wee sing song and all that. Did the trophy presentation and the pitch as well. My I was there with my cousin. He said he did it for the Scottish Cup as well. I have absolutely no recollection of that. I thought that was the first time.
Yeah.
But that was new. I don't know if I prefer it or no. I'd normally say I prefer it, but when they got the stare at hand, then at least you can see them. Where I was sitting, it was kind of like I was behind it basically. But it was good. It was good. Brilliant day.
James, can I ask you something? Now, this is just the way I felt leaving the game on Sunday. When we won the cup in May, everybody was just going mental. It was a high. I felt on Sunday, leaving the ground, it was more relief.
Aye. I think it probably took a collective about 2,000 years off life in that run.
By the way, I was off yesterday. I took yesterday off, and I never even went out for a pint. I was mentally drained after it. Speaking to my mate's a Rangers fan the day, he says to me, "Did you go out for a pint?" I went, "No," and he said the same. He was knackered after the game, just everything going through your head. But listen, the Rangers fans are feeling it. I felt it. I have been there when you were winning everything in the 90s. So as I know, it's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling. I've been there, so I know exactly how you are feeling. We have lost finals to yourselves, late goals and injury time in 2002 and so on. But it makes it sweet, and when you do get the success, that's why I'm enjoying it just now.
Yep, it's an incredible feeling, and like you said at the start, Jed, we'll have to milk it for what it is. Do you know what I mean? Years in the 90s, my granddad always tells me, not winning anything, they're winning everything. Do you know what I mean? Just get with it, and Celtic are dominant at the moment. And lads, that brings us to the end of the podcast. Have you enjoyed this one?
Oh yes.
Yeah. I must admit, James, I knew it was where I was supposed to be last night. At half time, I'm at that. What am I going to be like in this podcast tomorrow night if we get beat? I'll be honest, my face.
Greg Taylor wouldn't have made it through the 2 or the hour and a half.
No. Stephen, well done tonight, mate. And apologies to everybody out there, because it is we are all trying. I had to pull out a couple of weeks ago, right at the death as well. Guys are falling ill everywhere. But like Stephen said earlier, we will hopefully in the new year, the full team will be back.
Yeah, 100% that.
Just as long as Ross continues to sign my permission slips to get on, that'll be me back.
Well, to be fair, McGinty's due to fill in a back to work for him, and he's next on the podcast, so that'll be interesting. But look, yeah, as Jed said, we're trying our hardest to get back to full schedule. Everyone knows Christmas is manic, families and stuff, and people are really sick. I don't feel the greatest, and I think Jed does either, and McGinty as well. So, we're hanging in there. We talked about a good game and winning the cup and that, which was fantastic. And again, Rangers fans in the comments, it's all in good faith as well. Do you know what I mean? Get involved with the debate. Say what you think. We'll bring it up.
Keep it. Yeah, they're more than welcome to come on. But yeah, we're not interested in all this shite that can come along with it.
100%.
They're welcome to come on, but get it right up, you.
But look, until hopefully Friday when we're back, looking forward to the game of the weekend as well. Everyone, stay well, keep safe. Hail, hail.